Hello and welcome to More to the Story with Molly White. I'm so glad you joined me again today for another great podcast. And I know I say that every week, but gosh, they are all great. And we have some wonderful, wonderful guests on. Before we introduce our great guest today, I just want to welcome Mary Browning, my awesome, wonderful co host.
Thank you, Molly. It's good to be with you today, and I'm looking forward to this guest. We met in Idaho in July, and she just has so many fascinating components. So I'm excited about this episode.
I'm excited about it too. And our special guest today is Rachel Owen. And Rachel lives in the beautiful state of Iowa on a farm. And she's a pro life thought leader, a speaker, a mentor, a media guest with frontline insight. And she is also the CEO of Infinite Worth. And I cannot wait to talk about that. So we want to welcome you to the podcast, Rachel.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. It is joy to be here with you today. I'm so excited to share all the beautiful things that we've been learning as we've been growing. We've got old ministries and new ministries with the heart to really reach the abortion determined woman. And so that is our heart's cry. One of my favorite quotes was from Susan B. Anthony, and I paraphrase it, kind of Rachelify it, but it goes something like this, um, there's nothing more that I love than being a mother and a wife.
Yeah.
It's the best gift in the world. But there's something that really does fall second to that, and that is helping another woman see her value and not have her parenthood be willed away from her by society, right? And so
Mhm.
one of my greatest joys, of course, next to the Lord Jesus Christ, but I just really, really love being a mom, and I love helping other women see their full potential in motherhood.
Man, that's beautiful, Rachel. And, you know, we mentioned this pre show, but, Satan has been after motherhood since the Garden of Eden. And that's really the spiritual root behind all of this abortion and turning mothers' hearts away from their children is really it's a satanic spiritual attack against women and our children. And we're here to expose those lies, to expose his wicked schemes, and to save motherhood. That God designed women to bring forth life. And that's a beautiful gift because he was the ultimate life giver, right? And he gave women that ability to bring forth life. And it is a beautiful gift. And so I want to ask you tell us about Infinite Worth and what led you to start this.
Yeah. So, well, we'll go back to the beginning. I'm going to tell you how old I am now. So, I was born a little bit after Roe versus Wade was passed to a high school senior
Mm,
who the circumstances were not ideal. And lots of girls that I see in the centers today would easily abort their child in that circumstance. But my mom didn't, and she's a
mm,
hero. She's one of my
mm.
favorite heroes. So I was actually the youngest of six born in her graduating class, and so it was a big, big class. But I just grew up knowing that life is precious, life is valuable. Grew up in a very conservative, my grandparents, very conservative background. So loving life, not knowing what God had in store. I remember when I was 11 years old, my grandmother would take me to volunteer at the pregnancy center,
Wow.
and I would be putting things on the shelf and sorting baby clothes. And
Mm,
and I saw the executive director there one day, and I thought, oh, that looks like a cool job. And so, and lo and behold, years later, years after I was pregnant with my fourth child, a stay-at-home mom, homeschooler. God really called us. We moved back home, and I remember talking to my husband and saying, "Hey, why are we back in Iowa?" Because we were wanting to do ministry, in the mountains somewhere, right? and um, and then we found out the abortion rate in our hometown. And that
mm,
abortion rate was some of the highest per capita in the country because it's a university college campus, and they were doing
Mhm.
aborted fetuses, it's a teaching hospital. There was all kinds
mm,
of this right in this community, and they had three abortion clinics. And so my husband said, wow, I think that's why we're here. So, and being the great delegator that he is, he said, that's a woman's ministry. You better go do something about it. So I jumped in with both feet. That was probably 17 years ago. Started many clinics across the state of Iowa. I love starting clinics. My background is administration and in clinics and with physicians. And so I just jumped in and I got this model. I saw the model of the ultrasound and I'm like, let's go 100 miles an hour. And so we started lots of centers, partnered with the Knights of Columbus, got lots of ultrasounds out there, just really dug in deep, got some beautiful mentorship and just really, I got to open probably 15 clinics at that time. I created
Mm,
this beautiful thing under the precious grace of God, right? It's only
mm,
by his grace that we
mm,
get to do the
yes.
ministry. 1,000 babies saved a year. What we saw in our state was really interesting. Very early on, I said, we need to be available 24/7. So we had 24/7, we had our nurses on call. And this was before, anyone was doing it. Actually, I don't tell my nurses that's not what anybody else was doing, right? They just said, we're on call
Mhm,
and you're getting paid for it, so call. And so, but what we saw in our state is over a 10-year period, a 50% reduction in abortion because we were there 24/7.
wow.
And even a lot of people were like, at the time, they were like, "Oh, it's not the ministry; it's just abortion is reducing." What was interesting, I entrusted that ministry to another organization, and I went to go help a national organization start some telecare work. And in that time that I left, they shut down the 24/7 ladies. And guess what?
Wow.
Abortion went up 26% in
Wow.
1 year.
Wow.
So what after I picked myself up off the floor and because that's devastating. That was 2,500 babies
Mm,
in our precious state that I love so much, right? I love
mhm,
heck, I think I'm related to most of the people here.
mm,
These are family, right?
mm,
And I just failed
mm,
them. Well, of course, our Father is so full of grace. He said very gently, now those are mine. Those are my babies. They're
mm,
not
mhm,
yours. You lay them at my feet. I've got them.
mm,
Actually, what he spoke to my heart was, I've got them. Now
mm,
I need you to get up, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and go take this to the rest of the country
mm,
because we see that this works. We have hard data that this being available 24/7 to these college students is incredibly important because young women, ladies, when we're thing, guess what? We don't sleep.
mhm.
We don't sleep. We're up in the
Right.
night thinking, we're Googling, we're searching, we're on TikTok, we're doing all those things. And so
Mhm,
that's where she's at. And so when we were available 24/7, that's what we saw in our precious state. So, of course, came back to that organization, helped. Still helping to rebuild that organization. And then in the meantime, I get a call from a very precious man who started Hope Sync. His name is Brandon Monahan from Heritage House. He has this huge, beautiful legacy of his whole family, generations of his family working so diligently in the pro-life movement. And he had developed the texting platform for pregnancy centers, right?
mm,
And so I was chatting with him and I told him my testimony. I told him about the nurse on call, because that it was on call back then, right? That's before
mhm,
texting. And it was we were a small state, so they weren't, it wasn't overly taxing. It was awesome to be available. So then he said, "Hey, I've been wanting to build something to be able to answer these chats for pregnancy centers because they're overwhelmed with these chats when they use this chatting system." And so I said, "Great. Well, I'll pray about it. I'll come back and let you know what I think." So I prayed about it. God's like, "This is what we're talking about, girl." And so I jumped in. I said, "Okay, I'll do it if I can do it 24/7 and if I can do it with nurses because that's what works."
mhm,
Because nurses are
mhm, mhm,
the profession of the last 30 years.
mhm.
And also, this generation has some trust issues, right? And I saw the opportunity, and of course, Brandon saw it ahead of time too, because they're on the phone. This generation is literally on their phone. They're texting
24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
They're
Mhm.
actually texting 16 hours a day. It is their love
Wow.
language. It
Wow.
is the only time they actually feel comfortable and secure. They have phone anxiety. I actually asked my 16
Mhm.
daughter to make a phone call to get her hair cut the other day, and she was sweating bullets. She got off the phone and she said, "That was the hardest thing I ever did." Of course, I didn't tell her she could text, but we're just
Yeah.
omission, right? But anyways, they actually don't feel comfortable talking on the phone because everyone they talk to, well, their whole life everyone's on their phone. They're sitting next to their parents on the couch and their parents are on their phone,
Mhm.
they're on their phone, they're
Mhm.
missing this human connection, and they actually haven't learned the importance of eye contact. They don't know it's a human
Mhm.
need it. They know they're missing something, but they don't know that they need it. And
Mhm.
so, where we need to meet them, Christ calls us to go to the lost, right? We need to meet them on the phone where they're at, because that's where that. Do you know they actually watch 6 hours of 2-minute videos every day? So,
Wow.
I figured that they're actually doing it at the same time I've watched them. They text and watch videos at the same time.
Mhm.
So, that's how they fit all of
Mhm.
that into one day. And so, this generation is built different, right? And so,
Mhm.
we're taking it to them on the text. And that's what we're able to do with this. And you guys, it exploded overnight. We
Wow.
now partner with over 670 pregnancy center
Mhm.
locations where we're actually able to, we put our little chat widget on their website. We're answering those chats 24/7, and then we're scheduling in their schedulers. Our nurses are trained and effective and efficient at talking with girls who are considering having an abortion. They either have the abortion pill in their hand, or they've ordered the abortion pill, or they've taken the first one and need APR, so
Mhm.
which is abortion reversal process, right? So we're able to wrap around that. Our nurses are experts in this, and it is incredible. So we've had those 300, we've have since we started, it's been over 350,000 conversations with vulnerable girls.
Wow.
Mhm.
The schedule 100,000, I think we're at 150,000 that we've been able to schedule into these center schedulers. This is just game changing. It really is the next
Yeah.
game changer here. And so what we've been able to do, many centers, we've been able to take them from, seeing, maybe 10 abortion minded a month to 30.
Mhm.
It's been incredible. What's been really fun is I love small centers. So obviously I love rural. I live rural.
Mhm.
I eat it. We don't even metropolitan Iowa doesn't even, it's not even a thing, And so and so,
Mhm.
but so I've started many rural centers, and rural centers are critical important. I think every small town over 6,000 needs a pregnancy center, and this is why. Because if you are able to be there for your community, love your community, you can literally create a pro-life haven where abortion is unthinkable because you know that your community has your back. And so if we can create that in every small town, that's awesome. We started with one precious center in North Carolina. We started with a tiny little center, and then a medium center, and then a great big center in Florida. Um, that had like several locations, and it's really very dynamic. But we had these test plots we started with. Well, that little test plot we started with, I was just on the phone conversation with them this week. And when we started with the nurse chat on their website, um, that year, the year before in 22, they saw one abortion determined girl.
Mm.
The next year, they saw 13.
Mhm.
Next year, they saw 11, and now they're at 19.
Wow.
So that's
Yes.
incredible. For a small town of 4,000 people,
Mhm.
incredible.
Mhm. That's
You
good.
now just showed the community that you put your money where your mouth is, that you love these. They wrap around them with parenting classes, supporting them, cribs, diapers, you name it. It creates a center of the culture, but also community that is pro life. And the churches are
Mhm.
and getting excited.
Mhm.
And so I love that for small centers. And we just had a small center grant where we were able to put on 80 small centers.
Wow.
We had this beautiful grant we were able to provide. So, so much fun. I just have the best time. One of the things that is really important for this young generation, right? You know how I talked about the videos, the 2-minute videos? The platform that we have has over 200 2-minute videos on it that speaks their
Mhm.
language, right? So it has little videos from doctors and lawyers and
Mhm.
professionals talking about the importance of having an ultrasound before you um, take that abortion pill. Talking about your rights, right? Your reproductive rights. What if someone coerced you into having this
Mhm.
abortion? Oh my goodness, ladies, there is, 60% of these women are divorced.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
even seen where you can get an abortion pill right now. You can be a man, order an abortion pill, pay $5 for it, have it sent to your home, put it in your girlfriend's drink, and you don't have to pay, child support.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so wrong. And
Yeah.
so we need to be able to educate these young women. And so that's what we're able to do. Right now, we're sitting at scheduling. We schedule 46% of what we call the girl who's in the middle of the abortion. That's not the abortion determined girl. That's the girl who's either taken that pill or she's ordered that pill or she has that pill in her hand.
Ah.
So, we're able to schedule those into the centers now. We just recently came up with this beautiful, it's development. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. We're doing training and getting centers ready and doing pilots on it. It's a project I've been working on for about 3 years. And there's other centers that have come around us. We have ethics committees and all kinds of organizations. Finally, I couldn't get the buy-in, right? And so I just said, okay, I worked with these other pro-life organizations, and I said, "You know what? We're gonna have a meeting every 6 weeks." I'm working with the Heaven's Gain, these other beautiful, beautiful human beings, and I said, "Let's just hash this out until we can make this comfortable for everyone." And what it is it's a care kit for women, and it's actually for the chemical abortion. We want to continue this conversation with these girls who say, because there's that 50, that
Yes.
these
Mhm.
that
Repeat.
54% who aren't coming into the center. So we want to continue
Mhm.
that conversation. And so what we tell these young girls, okay, we're like, okay, if you're going to go ahead and take that pill anyway. So these are the nurses on the chat line. We're going to go ahead and do that. We want you to get this care kit because we want you to understand what's happening, what's going to happen. Because what's happened in our culture since the overturning of Roe, right?
Mhm.
It's the mm,
We've had more abortions through the abortion drug than we did before Roe v. Wade was overturned.
it's the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
the Wild West. It
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
so overwhelming. These girls get these pills.
Yes.
I was just telling you, we have girls who only speak Spanish. They've ordered these pills. They get it in the mail, and there may be the side attack only, the second pill that causes the contractions and stuff. And that protocol is if you take 3 every 4 hours until you see the contents of the uterus pass or till you see the baby in the toilet. Um, but these girls can't read that. And so we've had at least 3 of these girls who've taken all 14 of those at one time
Oh.
because
Mhm.
they can't read the directions or they didn't come with directions.
Oh.
Mhm.
This is
Criminal. It's criminal.
male
Yeah.
practice.
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
unacceptable in our country.
Everybody's.
We need
Mhm.
to be screaming from the mountaintops about how wrong this is, but we also need to be boots on the ground right where they're at making that decision. They're ordering that on their phone, and so they need to have,
Mhm.
and that's what's making this so effective in getting these girls into the pregnancy centers because the pregnancy centers have been saying for the last couple of years, especially since COVID and the overturning of Roe, that their numbers are going down. And that's why partnering with the nurse chat has been so effective for them. And it's like, how God sets us up for success because he's so good. He had all of this in play because he knew the game plan because the devil's work is he keeps the same game, right? And so God just sets us up for success and he gives us the tools, but we have to put our hands to work, right? We've got to
Yes.
put our hands to the work and we have everything that we need to reverse this travesty in our country. But yet, are we getting it done? And
Yeah.
we've got to jump in and get it done together. I love the stat.
Let's can we Rachel,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I wanna jump in because you're giving
Yeah.
us such good information. Is there right now a number, okay, that, someone can call the Infinite Worth number? Is there a national number, or how does that work?
So what you do is you go to the website and on the website you can go to infiniteworth.org and the nurse chat is actually on there or you go to the pregnancy center sites or you can go to abortionpilltalk.com, which is also where you can grab that website too. We have several national websites, we have several statewide websites. And then, of course, we're on with those pregnancy centers. We white label for pregnancy centers and websites. So we're not for Infinite Worth is not forward facing. We're just white labeling. We're just in the background doing the good stuff, right? And
Mhm.
so that's how young women get into contact with us. So they go to the website, they see the chat on there, and then they're able to click on that, and they can talk through SMS with a nurse right there in the moment.
Awesome. And so what about
Beautiful.
if there's a nurse listening to the podcast and she goes, "Oh boy, I want to get involved with that. I want to be a volunteer or whatever," how would a nurse get in touch with you or be able to join the 24/7 hotline?
Yeah, yeah. All you have to do is go to infiniteworth.org, and on there are applications and where you can request to either volunteer with us or become one of our paid staff. We have over 52 paid staff right now, paid nurses who are working for our team, who are literally getting this job done day in and day out. We've been able to create this ministry in such a way that we're able to do so much with so little. Right now our budget is 2 million. To be able to have that kind of staff with just that and to have that kind of reach. Oh
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
goodness.
Mhm.
The reach that we've had has been incredible.
Mhm.
And so we're looking to expand that this year also to 5 million and 100 nurses and also over 1,000 pregnancy centers partnered with us. So if anybody's interested in getting on that, man, it's good fruit. I can tell you
Wow.
what my team is beautiful, and it's God's team, right? It's his
Mhm.
team, but it's beautiful, beautiful work. And so, yeah, lots of
Okay.
good things.
And so I have another question, and I'm sure Mary wants to jump in. Do you have anything real quick, Mary? Uh,
I do have, and it's related to this because I think we just need to slow it down a minute for our listeners, and that is, so you offer the infinite worth, and that's available through the centers or to the center website is how people would
Mhm.
act. So if it's a center that contracts with you to provide that chat
Yeah,
service, that nurse chat service, then that's how they would access that. If they
yes.
wanted to get a hold of you specifically, is there a way to get a hold of you specifically?
Yes, all of my information is on the website at infiniteworth.org.
it's on
And
the screen
then
here. Hmm.
Yep, and then, of course, we do have a national site, that you can get a hold of our nurses. Let's say you don't have a pregnancy center near you, but you have a little girl in your church, or you don't know of a pregnancy center using the nurse chat, and you're listening to this conversation right now. You can go to abortionpilltalk.com.
Yeah.
Abortionpilltalk.com, which is so important. You need to be informed before you even take the
Yes.
drug. You know, you
Yes.
Yes.
need to be informed because if they don't tell you anything, you should have questions automatically. Okay. But now, you're talking about pregnancy resource centers. And what if you live in a little rural town, less than 2,000 people or less than 4,000 people? Y-
Mhm.
do you have, and you want to start and establish a pregnancy resource center? Would your company your ministry be able to help with that? Or what is your recommendations for getting one
Yeah.
established?
Yeah, so there's so CareNet has some good ways to help get started. So they have some manuals. So does Heartbeat International. They have some manuals on how to start pregnancy centers. I love starting pregnancy centers. It is the best fun ever. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just so
Yeah.
much fun. All you do is you go out, you cast the vision to the churches, and you tell them, hey, I need this much money to start this, and when it comes, we'll start. And then you just keep putting it out there, putting the seed out there. It's so much fun. So I encourage anyone. It's not hard to start a nonprofit, to start a 501(c)(3). It's not hard if God's put something on your heart to do it. Jump in. It only takes 70 hours to fill out that information, which that's it's not hard. It's just it walks you through it.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's
Mhm,
easy.
mhm.
So I just encourage anyone who God has put that on your heart, especially in small communities, right? Especially just making sure that no one falls through the cracks.
Yeah. Amen.
Mm,
Important.
yes,
Mm. Yeah, well, that's
yes.
cute. So we're about out of time.
Mhm.
And I guess I would like for you to appeal to a young woman out there listening that either she's considering taking this abortion drug or knows someone. How would you reach her and
Yeah.
encourage her to get it?
You bet, you bet. Well, there's a couple of things to consider. If you find yourself in a situation where you have an unplanned pregnancy, It's important to stop, to breathe, and to pause. This is a big decision, and it is your decision.
Mhm.
It's your decision. And it's important that you have all the information that you need before you go through. I encourage you to figure out when your LMP is. That was when you're the last menstrual cycle, like the first day of your last day. So you really want to look at that, right? You want to look at how far along you might be. I encourage you to Google that. Google if you think you're 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Google the what's happening
To your
during
body,
that
yeah,
time
to your
frame.
baby.
What's going on inside of your womb if there is anything going on? And then get a understanding of what's happening with your body first. That's really important to just stop and pause, do a little of your own research. You got this
Mhm.
right in your hand, do your own research on that. And then reach out to the nurses, talk to someone. Maybe there's someone safe in your life that you can talk to. I really encourage women to have conversations with
Mhm.
someone who's maybe had an abortion to get the information to understand what it's like from
Mhm.
someone who's firsthand experienced that, or talk to someone who's parented, right? Someone who has had an unexpected pregnancy and parented. That's important to get the full understanding. And then also talk to someone, and I know this isn't popular, especially with this generation, but talk to someone who's maybe adopted a child, or talk to someone who has um, placed a baby, right?
Mhm.
There's some really beautiful conversations to be had. So look at all of your options. I encourage you to just pause. You have time.
Mhm.
The whole world is telling you you don't have time. If you're on TikTok, TikTok's saying you don't have time. Especially if you're living in a red state, they're probably telling you this. They're probably saying, you know what? Don't tell anyone you're pregnant. They literally are probably telling you that. And
Yeah.
they're saying, you can take the missed period pill. You don't even need to know that you're pregnant. And you know what you do because for your own health,
Yeah.
because this is more than just, taking that pill is more than just experiencing a hard period. You're actually going to be going through labor. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know that. And so what happens too, and that's why I encourage you to talk to a nurse, walk through this care kit with her, because what happens, once you're pregnant, you're always going to be going through labor
Mm.
and delivery of a child,
Yeah.
no matter what,
One or the other.
right?
Mhm.
And miscarriage happens 1 out of 4 during the first trimester. So
Mhm.
that's why it's important to come to a pregnancy center, get an ultrasound. You may not even need to put your body through the stress of the abortion pill, right? And so to get that opinion, and you also need to see if it's an ectopic pregnancy. You need to make
Mhm.
sure it's not on the fallopian tube, because if you do take the abortion pill, and it is in the fallopian pill, or excuse me, in the fallopian tube, it could be very dangerous for your health and your future. And
Mhm.
also, you need to know how much blood is lost is too much blood loss. And that's where this care kit is really important, because the nurses walk you through how much blood loss is too much. What are you going to see? That's the other aspect. You are going to go through the hormones of giving birth. You are going to see possibly a baby in the toilet, and maybe no one has prepared you for that. And that is a real thing. We have women coming in out, oh,
Traumatized. Mhm.
traumatized
Trauma.
this, right?
Mhm.
And so it's very, very important to get fully educated. So, number one, make sure you're getting an ultrasound before you take any abortion pills or before you have that surgical abortion.
Mhm.
Talk to a medical professional that's trusted. Talk to someone in your life. Take a deep breath and make sure that you have all walked all around that problem, right, of that unplanned pregnancy. You've looked at every aspect. You owe it to yourself. You are
Mhm.
valuable. You are beautiful.
Yes.
And if there is someone in your life that is pressuring you,
Mm.
um,
To
you need someone to come alongside of you and help you resist that, because
Mhm.
that is illegal in our country in every single state. And you are better, you are worthy, you are valuable, and that is not acceptable.
Amen.
And so there are many organizations out there who will walk with you through that and get you to safety too. So, and if you're in a domestic violence situation or trafficking or anything like that, if you are being forced to have sex or to have an abortion, that is illegal, and there are people who can help you. So, reach out to Abortion Pill Talk. Um, Reach out to our nurses, reach out to your local pregnancy center. We are there for you.
Amen. Amen. And thank you. And Mary, I want you to give out the Center Against the Forced Abortion website information. And then,
Yes, you can access the Center Against Forced Abortion if you go to the Justice Foundation or you just type in Center Against Forced Abortion or CAFA. You will find information about what to do if someone is forcing you, and there'll be people there that can help you. Thank
yeah,
you, Molly, for thinking of that. I
yeah,
just had a quick question too for you, Rachel, and that is if someone's listening and they need to be able to access that care kit that you talk about, how would they access the care kits?
Yeah, it will be available through the nurses on the nurse chat, and they'll be
Okay.
also available on the Abortion Pill Talk webpage.
amen.
Okay.
Well, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rachel. Thank you, Mary. We are out of time, but we will have you back. But what a wealth of information
Mm.
provide for abortion vulnerable women and girls. And let me just encourage you again, you are worthy, you are of value, and so is your child, and so is your search situation. And never, ever, ever make a rush decision out of fear. Like Rachel said, there's all get research, uh, talk to people, get all the facts you need to know to make an educated choice. You have time and you're worth that. And so is the life of your baby. Because you have to think about two people, instead of one right now. And so Rachel's there for you. Infinite Worth is there for you. There's all kinds of helpline numbers. We have one as well because we care about you. And we care about you for the long haul, not just, take the pill and goodbye. We care about you. So thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on. We love your sweet, tender heart for abortion vulnerable women and for protecting mothers and motherhood and babies. And it's just a beautiful thing that God has called you to do. And I know the numbers are just saving so many lives of babies and their mommies, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Mary, and thank you all for tuning in to More to the Story with Molly White, and we look forward to seeing you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Hello, friend. Our broadcasting wanted to take a moment to personally thank you for being a listener of the More to the Story podcast. Whether you're a longtime subscriber or just found us, we're so glad you're here. This podcast is a community built on sharing, and that's where you come in. If an episode has ever resonated with you, please consider sharing it. Text it to a friend, post it on social media. Your recommendation is the most powerful way to help these important stories reach new ears. We are also inviting businesses and individuals to partner with us as official sponsors. Sponsoring the podcast is a wonderful way to reach a dedicated, thoughtful audience while directly supporting our mission. If you'd like to explore sponsoring the podcast, we invite you to visit our website at www.moretothestorypodcast.org. Again, that's www.moretothestorypodcast.org. Thank you for being a part of our story.